everyone, welcome back. My name's Kevin Cheney and this is my blacksmith shop, Red Maple Forge, and today it's Tool Tuesday, so we're making a tool. And I'm going to be doing a hammer eye punch. So the steel I'm using for the hammer eye punch is a 4140. It originally started off as a 1 1/4 inch round. I have gone and slightly squared it off. Also put a mark just a little back from center, so we can start our punching the eye for this one. And for the punching, I'm going to be using my slot punch. I used this last week for my cross peen hammer, my smaller cross peen hammer. I'm going to grab my little bucket of water because I will need to quench that punch once in a while. So we'll get that up to heat, and yeah, we'll start going. Yeah, so if you new to the channel or new to the newest videos, I stream every weekday at 1:30 Eastern Time. I'm on Twitch as well as YouTube. I have the chats open, so if you guys want to, ask me a question or something like that, I can answer it. If not, I'm just going to work away and hammer out this tool. Now, like last week, if you caught the cross peen hammer, I forged all of it in one day on one stream. I annealed it overnight and then finished it up on the next stream. This one's going to be very similar to that. I'm going to be forging quite a bit with the punch side of it, so I want to anneal that just to get any stress out. And today I did remember to bring in my safety glasses. So I got brand new safety glasses, even though you're not going to be able to tell because they're identical to the last ones. But now I'm looking. Oh, I can actually see. What is there? Like plastic on these guys? Oh wow! Ooh, what a difference! I still get some glare, but I think that's going to be normal with these guys. I do recall a little bit of glare when I first got them. So I am going to be wearing a glove for the first little bit while I work this with my little slot punch here, solely because that's hot. Well, that's going to be hot when I pull it out. So I am going to pump up the heat on the forge a little bit. It's going to be around 10 psi. This is more so that I can keep working and not have to wait so long for heats. So I'm just gonna look for my center mark. I'm gonna start doing my punch. I'm gonna try and, for the first couple of hits, I'm really making sure I'm getting this nice and square, not hitting all that hard, taking my time to really set up that punch. I'm gonna rotate it. When you are punching by hand, it is good to once in a while rotate the billet. That's so if you are going a little bit crooked, it will help to straighten up, especially in the first couple of hits. Once you get it set up, then you can really start wailing on it. But normally on the first heat, I'm just trying to get that going. So there we go. I'm gonna keep my anvil clean and my punch quenched. get a good heat on that. Now that I got the mark started, I'm gonna get a good heat on that so I can move the punch down as quickly as possible. So this is gonna, when I'm done this is gonna be like one of the ones that you have a handle, like a wooden handle with. It just, with a wooden handle, it just tends to give you a little bit more, not be nearly as afraid to really whack the punch. You know, I don't know if you're noticing, but I'm not whacking this hard. I've hit my hand more than enough times while doing punches. I will not do that today, hopefully. Unfortunately, my normal headphones or earbuds or whatever you want to call it that I normally wear out here has now officially broken. They've been slowly dying over the years, and I can now not get them on, so I'm stuck using my older set, which are not as nice, unfortunately. They don't block out nearly as much. They don't block out nearly as much noise as the other ones. So I also forgot to, because all this happened, I didn't get a chance to really fully charge these guys, so that kind of sucks. Anyways. Sorry, bear with me for a second. Okay. We have to wait for that to heat up anyways. So with the punching of this, I'm going to go about 2/3 of the way down. Then I'm going to flip it over and finish it off on the other side. Every so often, I'm going to go in and quench my punch, rotate the billet. This punch is spring steel, but it's mystery steel, so it doesn't hold up as nicely to the higher heats as, like, say, if I made a punch with H13. The punches for my press are H13. But I don't use this hand one all that much, so I just made it out of some coil spring. Pretty sure it came from my old pickup truck. I know some guys like to do a couple punches on one side, flip it completely over, and start on the other side. I prefer this method a little bit better, going almost all the way through on one side first, and then center up for the other side. I've had issues before where you do both sides, and then you kind of, your hole comes down, and you're kind of like going that way against each other. Actually, the first axe I made, that's what happened to it. I actually, the top and bottom didn't align, so I never got a punch out of it. And chasing that is not fun. So now what I do is I go most of the way down on one side, flip it over, figure out, based on the bulge that happens, where I should be starting my punch on the other side. I've been getting better results with that than center punching the center on both sides. I am getting a little low on these tanks, so if you see me walk over there and check, that's what I'm doing. I have with any, even with these earplugs, it's hard for me to tell the difference on the forge, if it's dyed or not, so. I must look once in a while. Now normally I would probably leave this in a little bit longer, get a nice yellow, almost white heat on this. If I was doing this more on my own time and not during a stream. If I was doing hammers as a production run, I'm usually doing 3 or 4, basically almost whatever would fit in my forge at the time, which is usually about 3 or 4 before it starts affecting the forge too much. So, and by the time I get actually through all 3, the first one is already nice, fully heated up. But because I'm doing one now, and only one, that does not happen. I know some people that will keep on hitting that even at the dull orange. I say, why work so hard? And the reason why I'm actually making this hammer eye punch, even though I have a press that is fully set up for doing holes, it's basically because of these streams. As I'm showing you here, it's not hard to do this with hand tools. Even squaring that off, you could do that, no problem with a cross peen or rounding hammer, a flat face hammer. I'm using my 3-pounder today. You could do all this with a 2-pounder, it just will take you more heats. And for my handle, I've decided to go with my last pre-made handle from the Nova Scotia guy, which is this guy. It's the very last one, and then I've gone through all of them. It's ash handle. So the story behind this is guys on eBay. He bought a whole bunch of blanks from a sawmill by his way that mostly dealt in ash out in Nova Scotia, and he's retired now, so he does this as a retired hobby kind of thing, and he does axes and axe handles and hammer handles. I like his hammer handles are good. Axe handles I found was a little bit too thin for my liking. Also, the one handle I got, the grain structure was wrong for that size of axe, so I wasn't too happy about that when it broke. But anyways, the hammer handles have been really good. I now have the tools to make my own, so I haven't bought. This is the last one of his that I have, and it'll probably be the last one I actually get from him, just because I can make my own. So now that I'm almost all the way through, I do have a little bit of a kink in here. Sorry, I didn't switch my camera. So I do have a little bit of a bow in the steel. My anvil's not perfectly flat, so sometimes that happens because of that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look at the bulge that's happening, and I'm gonna take my punch and line up roughly where I think it's gonna be. And then we'll go in for another heat. Just gonna see how I feel about that. I think that's good. So we'll get another heat on that. And hopefully we can finish off this hole. If I have it nicely aligned, it should punch out on this next heat. And oh boy, it got warm around here. Outside currently is 26 degrees. Already it's 30 degrees in the shop. I have most of the doors open. I don't have the big door open, but I do have the small door and the window up the stairs open. Try to get some of the heat out of here, but it's warm. Woo. In comparison, Saturday was 7 degrees. This is all Celsius if you haven't caught on, I'm Canadian. I am pulling this out a little bit colder than I normally would, like I said before. So I'm just gonna actually start punching this down. After I do a couple of hits and do the rotate and all that, I am gonna go and flip this over to check to see how I am aligned. I'd rather spend the time now correcting my hole than oh, I broke my punch. It just completely chipped off. Oh. That's one of the downsides of mystery steel. Not really happy about that. Yeah, so that was a little chip that came off of it. So that's kind of disappointing. So now I'm trying to decide what is the best course of action here is. I think I might just continue on with this punch. But anyways, I'm gonna take a boo at the other side just to see how I'm lined up, and it actually looks like I'm pretty good. I'm slightly off. Not too bad. I should be able to correct that. I could easily just go and cut this off and fix that up a little bit, but you know what? I think at this point I'm almost done. I'm just gonna, as I'm working it, I'm gonna do one hit one way, like one hit, flip it over, because I still have, it was only half of it that broke off. And mostly that happened because when I quenched it one time, it was a little bit warmer than what it should have been, and it probably over-hardened it. But again, this being from a coil spring from a truck, that could have actually been a weakness there anyways. It could have been worked hardened from the truck. So that's one of the downsides with mystery steel. I like using it because, you know, it's there, and I like reusing steel as much as I can, but unfortunately stuff like this happens. So because I'm forced to flip my chisel or punch every time, it might take a little bit longer to get this through. And yeah, it would be better if I just went and cut this off and redressed the end, but I don't have a camera for upstairs yet for my belt grinders, so it's not the easiest for me to do that. So I should be getting close to this punch coming right out, and yeah, it's close, so. If it wasn't for this new notch in this punch, I probably would have already had this out. Yeah, it's close. It's just hanging on one corner. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go in for a nigh heat just to finish this off. It is close. What I don't want to do is start chasing it, like going from this way and hit it down, like the first way. You end up with more problems that way. And what happens is you start forcing that plug into the sides of your eye, and possibly start a cold shut. Oh, plug did fell out. Okay. Yep. So that is the hole punch now. That's my hole punch. I don't know what happened to the plug. It fell somewhere. Anyways, that's the hole. It's pretty good. Oh. There's the little plug there. When I do hammers with, or axes with the press, I actually keep the plugs because I have this crazy idea to do Damascus with all the plugs at one point in time, but I'm still a little bit a ways from doing that. Yeah. So my drift for my hammers. This is actually an old axle from a Volkswagen Golf, a 2004 Volkswagen Golf, and I've had this for a while, actually. The only thing is there's a little mix match in my punch and my drift. So I do actually have to drift a little bit with the punch I was already using first before I can drift with that. Basically here I'm just drifting this enough so I can get my big drift in. And yes, I am drifting it both sides. Yeah, that'll be enough to start, I think. Actually, I'm just gonna So I'm gonna set this guy aside so I can redress him. Maybe that'll be Monday's episode. So I want a good heat on this, and I want a nice even heat. I don't want one side of the eye more heated up than the other. The reason for that is when you're drifting, if you have one side warmer than the other, it will move more than that colder side, even if it's only a little bit colder. So yeah, I want to keep my eye straight. As I drift, I'm actually going to bring in the cheeks a little bit. I don't want them to go too far out while I'm drifting. And yeah, this drift is a little bit tall for using on this anvil. So I don't get as nice of a hit as I want from it. right now I'm not going to drift this all the way to a finished size, even though I know what my finished size will be. I'm only going to drift it a little bit and then actually work the punch side of it, and then go back and do the finished drift. I do that because if you spread out those cheeks too much early on, when you're working either the front or back of the hammer, or top tool in this case, you can cause extra stress on those shoulders, on those cheeks. So it's better to keep a little bit thicker material there while you're doing the forging of everything else, and then do the final drift afterwards. And this time I'm going to try and be a little bit more efficient with making sure I'm set up for each heat. I know when I did my cross peen last week, I kept on forgetting to pull the drift out of the water or something like that. So, yeah. Oh, 35. Oh. 35 degrees in here. Holy sneakers. So now I'm actually drifting from the other side than I did before. And even with the drifts, I'm going to rotate them. Just in case my drift is a little bit out of square, it should straighten up everything when I work it. And I still have a little bit of heat, so I'm going to go from the other side. I actually can't wait until I get this drifted a little bit better. That way I don't have to open the side of my forge. And I can go in one of the ends. Because that's hot. So I guess I should say my tongs I'm using today are the pickup tongs I made on one of the first stream videos I did. They are made out of spring steel. Actually, the same coil spring that punch was made out of. Well, it might not be the same, because I think I went through that spring. I think this might be the second spring. Let's see how the network is doing today. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Definitely a lot better now with the new network setup that I have. I've been running it a couple of weeks now, and I haven't I don't even think I've had a drop frame yet, so quite happy with that. Okay, let's get this done. Now with this guy, I'm not actually going to thin down the cheeks as much as I might do with, like, say, another cross peen hammer. I'm going to leave this a little bit thick because it is going to be a top tool. And I'm just checking for squareness right now. I'm actually at a point where I'm going to put the drift aside for now. Actually, I say that. I want to actually, well, I still have a little bit of heat. I'm going to try and square off this back. This is going to be where the hammer hits. And this is actually the shorter side of it. I will have time to clean this up a little bit afterwards, but I want to take my time now to do so. Because the more time I spend right now straightening up everything, it's time saved when I go to do grinding. Actually going to be swapping out tongs, I think, as we work the tip down. So I'm doing my V-bit tongs. These were made for 3/4 square, 1 inch square. So I think they'll be a little bit better to control. My hammerhead's getting loose again. Unfortunately, my shop is not like climate control. So my hammers tend to go through a process of shrinking, the handle shrink and stuff like that. This one's already have a steel wedge put into it. I might be able to sneak a second one in there, but we'll see. It doesn't feel too loose, so yeah. The only reason why I can tell is it's cummed up a little bit on the handle. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to do one of these guys where you hit the hammer down, because you can actually force the handle to like loosen up even more by doing that. So it's not a good practice to get into. So this is going to be the working end, and I'm going to bring this down, doing a square taper. So I'm doing a pretty aggressive taper right now on the end. And that's just to get the taper started. And what we're doing here is we want to get a nice long taper, or a relatively long taper. So once we get a taper on square to the length we want, we're going to take it down to octagon and then completely round. And then we'll move on from there. One nice thing about it being a little bit warmer is not as worried about my propane freezing. When we get into the colder temperatures, they freeze out a little bit too quick, my liking. But with it being this warm, I don't have too much of a fear of that until they're actually empty. So we're just going to keep on working that. I'm not going to a complete point, going down to roughly about 3/8 at the tip. I'm going to spend some time going around the whole thing, making sure I'm keeping it as center as possible. So here's the going of it right now. So on this next heat, I'm going to start bringing that taper back more. So I'm going to change up my angle a little bit and start bringing that taper back. Just doing a little time check today. We must have a good storm. Must have a good storm coming in or something like that. The wind is pretty bad today. I'm going to drop my angle a little bit, start bringing that taper back. My tongs are not gripping this as much as I would like it to, so that's why you're seeing me do one side at a time. Silly tongs. I'm not sure if my hammer eye tongs would work on this. Yeah, let's try those out next time. On the next heat. basically where we're at right now. So on this next heat, I'm going to start bringing that square to an octagon. How I like doing my octagons is actually going down one whole side at once and then turning it and doing the next side. I want to give that a little bit more heat. Pulling it out too fast. Now, if you are doing this, you don't have any of the fancy tongs yet, you could start off with a longer bar and do all the hammer, the top tool parts of this on that end of that bar, and then slice it off where you want your flat side or at the top of the tool, the striking part of the tool. I tell you, this is so much easier when I'm using a press. So what's going on with my V-bits here is that this is slightly larger than what this is supposed to accommodate. So it's not gripping it as well as I would like it to. Like I said, I'm just going to bring this down to an octagon. I'm trying to make all the sides the same size. This is pretty well the octagon now. So now that I got this octagon, I'm going to knock down nose corners to make it a 16-sided. And basically I'm going to bring this to a round. So yeah, those new corners I just brought up, those those are gonna be knocked down. I'm going all the way around. I'm not gonna do where you just do one side and hope the anvil does the work it needs on the other side. And again, you're trying to make all the sides the same. Now I'm going to start rounding that out a lot more. Here you want as clean as the taper as possible. It will save you time during grinding. So I am going to probably take a couple of heats to clean this up as much as I can. Also, I'm looking to see if I'm still straight. If not, I'm going to start straightening it out before I move to my next step on this. Take your time, make sure you get a nice clean taper, or, you know, relatively clean enough. Unless you like grinding. If you like grinding, then, you know, leave it a little bit more rough. So now I got that rounded off, I'm actually going to flatten down two sides, very much like my drift. The drift actually was made the same way, where I tapered it down and around and then flattened two sides of it. What that will give you is two flat sides, but then it will also give you a little bit of a roundness to the punch, which is very useful for hammers. Seeing that most hammers are hammer handles have that round shape to them. So, yeah. And this next step is, there's two ways to do it, depending on how you want your punch to sit. So, well, actually, I guess three ways. You can decide to have your handle in line with your punch. So you'd be basically the opposite of this cross peen, basically. Where it's actually aligned with your handle. You have it where it's 90 degrees, like a cross peen with your handle. And I've seen some where it's 45 degrees from the handle. Now, my personal, I like the exact same way as a cross peen, so basically a cross punch. That's my personal preference. It allows me to line up a little better. I find if I'm doing it like this, where the handle's in line with the punch, I tend to walk a little bit. And the same thing with the 45 degrees. I'm not able to really judge it too well, and I find doing the 90 degrees is better for me. Or this, basically the same way that a cross peen is. So depending on the orientation you want, you have to kind of pay attention to your next step. So, if you want it in line with the handle, how you're going to hit this down and flatten it is going to be different than if you don't want it aligned. So if you want it aligned, you're going to take it so the eyes are on the side, so not up and down, but on the sides of it. If you want it like a cross peen, you're going to have the eye going up and down. And if you want 45, then you put the eye 45 degrees. So because I want it basically identical to a cross peen, I want to do it with the eye facing up and down. And all I'm doing is flattening the one side, which will also cause the second side, which is against the anvil, to flatten down too. Now, because I talked a little bit too much, I want to heat this up again. This is where having that round taper clean and straight is very important, because if it's not clean and straight before starting this, it's going to be off after you're done this. Now, of course, you can grind that out if you want to. I prefer more of forge to finish as much as possible. Yeah, I don't like grinding, so I want to forge to finish as much as possible. Pretty well, I want to be able to take a file to this and within like 10 minutes be done. And even that is a little bit more than what I want to do. Now, I have no problem taking out an angle grinder and taking a scale off and getting it mostly to the final shape, or up to the grinding room. But I personally like to not grind. Unfortunately, there's going to be some stuff, no matter what you do, you will have a little bit of grinding to do, a little bit of cleanup, but the less we have to, the better. So we're bringing it down until roughly about 1/8 of an inch on the tip. And you're going to rotate it back and forth to make sure that you're keeping that straight. And this is roughly the size you want to be done with. This is actually a little bit thicker than I normally would want for an eye punch, but it will do. And when I mean thicker, I mean width-wise, but it will do. I obviously could have tapered that down more, but for what we're doing, that is pretty well the shape we want. So I'm going to take some time, make sure I'm square. I'm going to drift that I'm going to start drifting a little bit bigger because I got all the forging done on both sides. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to start drifting the eye bigger to the final size. Now the handle I'm using is actually more square than oval. So I'm going to keep that in mind while I do this. Now if you are using a store-bought handle similar to this, you can easily go on your drift and pick a spot where it will fit in and just put a mark on your drift. I'm not too worried about that, so. So again, I want to get a good heat on this eye. This side hasn't been heated up for a while, so it's going to take a little bit of time to heat this up. Again, I've made this big. I probably would make it a little bit smaller. And basically, you can do that by just making a longer taper. I think this will do for what I want, so, and if not, I will grind it down. My propane tanks are getting frosty now, so we'll get this done as quickly as I can. It's actually probably drifted very close to where I need it right now. But we'll just go in for a couple more just to make sure. And yes, I do drift from both sides. This is so I get an hourglass in my eye. It holds the handle a lot better if you have an hourglass. Thinking one more heat, spread that eye a little bit bigger. Gonna go right in the forge this time with it. I'm also going to take a second, make sure everything looks okay. If I need to straighten it up any, I'm going to take the time now to do that. just going to take my drift and compare it to my handle. There'll be a shiny side, a shiny spot where the drift has stopped. So I'm just kind of comparing that with the handle to make sure I drift this enough. That should be enough from the top side. That should be enough. So what I'm going to do now, because I did so much forging on this, I'm going to bring it back up to heat. And then I'm going to get out my vermiculite. So if you don't know what vermiculite is, it's this stuff. It is a natural product that has great insulation properties, and it's also fire resistant. So this I use instead of sand. The reason why I do that is because, like I said, my shop is not climate controlled. So there's times where it gets so humid in here that that the anvil and any heavy steel actually sweats. And when I was using sand, what I was finding is the sand would pick up the moisture from the air. And then when I try to anneal something in it, it was actually causing it to cool down too quick because of the moisture. I've had stuff actually re-harden because of the sand being damp. So now if you can keep your sand dry, I guess that's okay. Now, this is vermiculite is found in garden centers. It's used for drainage. And yeah, because it doesn't absorb water very well. So that's why I like it. Basically what we're going to do is just, this is actually a little bit warmer than it needs to be. We're just going to go put that right in to the vermiculite, and we are going to let that sit overnight. So it'll be nice and annealed for tomorrow when we can finish all of this up. We can finish this up and do all the lovely grinding and handling and heat treat. This one I will be heat treating the punch side. Yeah. So we'll do that tomorrow. So I guess that's it. I really, that's my day. I forged the thing. It's in the bucket annealing. I can't do anything else. So, thank you guys for watching, and we'll get this guy done tomorrow.